let me just tell you a little bit about my son Jamal. He came to us from the child welfare system, and one of the things that we noticed right away was that he had experienced trauma in the system, and he would do certain things that kind of told us when he was suffering from that. One of the things that he would do often is he would take his arms in from his sleeves of his shirt. He'd be wearing his shirt, and he'd be kind of like this, kind of like a little turtle almost. And we knew that those were times when he was feeling particularly vulnerable and afraid. But after he was with us for a while, we saw that he wasn't doing that so much, and he was, adjusting well and so forth. And, and we loved him and cared for him as all parents do. Then something happened just after 10th grade. He and some of his friends were breaking into cars and taking iPods and whatever cash happened to be around. And Jamal ended up going to one of Virginia's youth prisons. We didn't know enough about the youth prison system to be as afraid as we should have been of it. And so he went there. He was not involved in a gang when he was living with us, but there were gangs in the youth prisons. And he ended up getting attacked by 2 kids and beaten severely and kicked in the head. And we got a phone call that said, we're taking him to the hospital. He's been beaten up. He needs x-rays. We don't know, something might be broken, and we'll call you back. And so we were on pins and needles waiting to hear back. And finally they did call back, and we heard from the nurse in the infirmary at the institution. And she said, okay, we've got him here. We're going to keep him on observation. They say there are no broken bones, which is unbelievable because it really looks like he's really been beat up. But we're going to be watching him through the night, just as you would with anybody with a head injury. And I said, can I speak to him? And she said, no. And so there was no way, and I said, well, just please tell him that we love him, But it was really hard on us to not be able to say that to him. We couldn't obviously be there. He was a couple of hours away. We couldn't touch him or hug him or comfort him in any way. Here he was hurt, beat up, alone, and we couldn't even speak to him on the phone. And that story that I tell about what happened to Jamal is not so unusual. I happened to be sitting in a meeting with someone from our Department of Correctional Education, and this teacher was making a remark, and in the course of the remark said this phrase, in an inherently violent place like that facility where my son was, blah, blah, blah. And the blah, blah, blah was really the point of his sentence, but it really struck me that you could say, in an inherently violent place where we put our children.